Oh boy. Oh, stay calm. I would have swung at that if nothing had come out. That's stupid. You gotta wait till you see the ball. Looking for one more good one. It's not bad. Well, that's my infamous new machine. I set the camera up this. I don't know if this is going to prove to be a good angle. You were right behind me, so maybe you didn't get a very good shot at the whole swing, but I wanted you to be able to see how very, very fast this new machine is spitting the ball out. And I don't even think I'm 20 feet away. I don't even know that I'm 18 feet away. I mean, that's ridiculous. There's nobody in the big leagues now or ever that reduces reaction time to what I was working with there. Now, of course, that's not to brag because I was missing most of those, and there was one where I even was swinging at the sound of the ball being ejected. I didn't have time to see the pitch coming to respond to it at all. A lot of pitching coaches would say that this kind of exercise is of very limited value for that reason. But I think if you can adjust your swing to hit something that gives you this little reaction time, then you can always adjust downward to something more realistic where you have more reaction time. It's much easier to do that than to get into the habit of swinging at slower pitches and then think that you can ramp it up in critical situations, because you can't. And you know, that has always been a knock, not necessarily that other people have suggested about this dead ball era approach that I take, but it's one that's been in the back of my mind from the start. Because you know that the pitchers 120 years ago had the big wind up and the leg kick and everything. There were a whole bunch of things for hitters to key on. It was taking a long time for the pitch to be released from the pitcher's hand, and you know, more time for the pitch to actually reach the plate, although I think that's overemphasized. We need to remember that the hitters were actually getting farther up in the batter's box, and the hitting background was also much worse in most cases. So in terms of actual perception time, fastballs were probably about as fast as they were now. Plus, hitters back then, pitchers weren't reluctant to throw at hitters' heads and do things like that. And there were no batting helmets. But all of that being said, I think this sort of exercise where I'm really pushing myself right up against the very edge of possibility to see if this approach can make contact, it's very positive to me. It makes me very optimistic. Now again, what I'm doing, the key to all of this, I think maybe the most important thing is to get that straight, linear, slightly downward stroke into the heart of the baseball. That's how you hit low line drives. You're going to put a little bit of backspin on the ball, but you're not dipping under it, so it's not going to be popped up. And you're trying to get it just to hop off the bat. You want a maximum length of carry and a minimum amount of air time. That's another way of thinking of a low line drive. That's what we want. And to achieve that, I've got to shift my weight forward. I don't want to hang back, because if I hang back, and that's the temptation when balls are coming fast, and I think that's why you can see as the 19th century rolls into the 20th century, hitters are less often, they're doing less of that front foot pointed outward and just falling onto the front foot, because the ball's coming so fast that they never get to the front foot. They just have to kind of collapse backward and do what we moderns are familiar with. So you got to do something to get your weight faster to the front foot so that you can get that linear, slight descent into the ball. That's got to happen really fast. And what I've been doing, I hope you can see most of this from that angle, I'm still using the front foot pointed outward, but and I'm using my little, it's not even much of a hop. My head's not bouncing around, but my barrel is low, and when I lift the barrel, I use that to catalyze bringing my back foot forward, and my front foot's hardly even moving other than to just curl in a little bit. That way I can stay kind of erect, and the hands are up, of course, and a little back, but they're not way back here. And when I see that ball now, I can just flip my knee back forward, and that carries my bat into the ball. That's what I was after there. I think that's very much like what Tris Speaker was doing, and he, along with Cobb, they're just really far and away the best hitters from 1900 to 1920 in terms of batting average and in terms of total bases. These, obviously, most of these hits, and I was also hoping from this angle you could see that they're going to be opposite field hits. You have to count, you have to figure on that. You shouldn't step up to the plate thinking to pull the ball. If a changeup were mixed in with these super fast pitches, and I got way out in front, was swinging with one hand, then that would be a ball that I might actually pull down the line for a pretty good ways. But since I'm not trying to do that, I'm shooting over there. Some of those got up pretty high. They were not really line drives, but there was some good contact there. So again, I'm optimistic about it because I'm surprised I could hit the ball at all at these speeds. This is probably something that you can do even better with the lighter metal bats. You notice that I'm using wood today, but everything that I did today you can do with metal, maybe even better. And over there in that opposite field, I was making good contact again with some of those. So those, because you're putting backspin on them, they will carry a long way. You're probably not going to be defensed that way. You're going to have a lot of doubles, if at the very least, coming from this stroke, shooting in that opposite direction. So think about it. Give it a try.